We're live once again on eKartingNews.com for EKN's trackside coverage of the 2016 WKA Manufacturers Cup Series season. It's been quite the day of racing so far. We began with overcast skies, a fairly dark round of morning warm-ups into qualifying, and then the first round of heat races. But as soon as we got halfway through that, the sun began to come out here, especially after lunch now. It is a bright and sunny racetrack. The temperature's warming, and the racing on the track getting hotter as we speak. A perfect start on the second attempt puts Kartsport North America Pro IAME Senior under green. And Brandon Jarsekrak going to the lead off the start. Brandon Lemke going to follow through over from turn 1 to turn number 2. And Jarsekrak with a huge gap now to turn 5. Braden Eves trying to get by Lemke. Lemke going on the defensive into the bus stop. Jarsekrak trying to pull away. Brandon Jarsekrak, while he's been extremely consistent all year long, has been shut out from victory lane and the top step of the podium in all series he's competed in since Daytona Kart Week on the second day, where he won off the red flag situation with Billy Lewis's kart getting stuck in the center of the track with a full hung throttle. As we go down the backstretch for the first time, Jonathan Kotick's now worked his way by. Braden Eves falling down to 4th, and he's going to have a lot of ground to make up now with Alexander Kardashian looking down the inside for 5th. Eves going to take that and actually turn it into a position improvement. He goes back by Jonathan Kotick, and Kardashian going to go by Kotick as well. Here comes Mick Gabriel. Gabriel goes by Kotick. Jonathan Kotick from 3rd, now down to what looks to be possibly 7th at the end of the line. Up front, Brandon Lemke is slowly reeling in Brandon Jarsekrak ever so slightly, but it's a huge gap from Jarsekrak back to Braden Eves. That shuffling off the first lap might have just put him out of a perfect weekend already, but I won't say never because he's got 16 laps in total to make up the ground. Braden Eves now already pulling away from Alexander Kardashian. Still not too far back from Brandon Lemke. It's far from the gap that Jacob Donald was able to get after Eves got put on top of Jarsekrak in Pittsburgh on day number 2. In fact, I believe Eves might even still have a bit of snip of Lemke's draft now down the front stretch. They're spaced out, and a battle for 4th potentially with Mick Gabriel on the bumper of Alexander Kardashian in the 55. Into turns 13 and 14. Jarsekrak, Lemke, and Eves. Braden Eves, your fastest driver on the racetrack last time by. 2/10 quicker than Brandon Lemke. Nearly a half second quicker than Brandon Jarsekrak. Into turn number 16 and out of it. Eves pulling into the draft of Lemke, and Lemke bringing him with him as he pulls into the draft of Jarsekrak. Down the front stretch to turn number 1. Jarsekrak leads lap 3. Nearly identical lap times last time by for Brandon Lemke and Braden Eves. Lemke, if he can make quick work of Jarsekrak, might have a shot of shaking away the number 41. But he's got a lot of work to do. Both of them have to gain nearly 100 points. On Gahanna, Ohio's Braden Eves, he's already put an extra 5 on there with the Comet Kart Sales Pole Award this morning. And as they exit turn 9 into 10 and 11, Jarsekrak, Lemke, and Eves, the top 3 with a good gap back to now Mick Gabriel. Gabriel taking over the 4th spot away from Alexander Kardashian and Jonathan Kotick. into turn one. Jarsakrak has Lemke on his tail. Eves reeling both of them in. He gained nearly 2/10 on Lemke last time. Lemke pushing Jarsakrak. Got Jarsakrak his fastest lap of the race. It's still nearly 3/10 slower than Braden Eves. Into the bus stop once again. Now just 2 kart lengths between Lemke and Eves. That gap closing even more. Brandon Lemke stalling out quickly, and he's got to make a move around Jarsakrak and then hold it, so that way Jarsakrak can fight with Eves to buy him a little more time if he wants to get by, and that's if Jarsakrak doesn't turn up the wick himself. Jarsakrak started quick, got away, but then as soon as Lemke and Eves had their tire pressure start to come in, has been about a 10th or 2 slower a lap, heading down the backstretch towards turn 16, and now they'll head in once again, 3 karts together. Just as in Allison Racing Engines Yamaha Sportsman, a 3-kart lead train. We'll see if any one of them gets dumped down to 2, as we did at the end of that one with Madison Campeau coming out on top. But again, it's Brandon Jarsakrak through turn number 4, and now over the short chute towards the bus stop. Him, Lemke, and Eves are nose to tail in both the championship and on the racetrack. Alexander Kardashian's worked his way by Jonathan Kotick. Kotick again now as well getting by Mick Gabriel, so that's shuffling again all around for the 4th spot. Gabriel down to 6. Abby McLaughlin leads the next group. She runs 7th right now in between that group of 3 and Sam Cate. Battling up front though. Braden Eves by Brandon Lemke in turn 12. They were side by side, and Lemke did not want to give it up, but it cost Lemke way more than it would have cost Eves. Eves still just 3 karts back from Jarsakrak, but that move in 12 and even farther back, setting it all up, has cost Brandon Lemke not just a lot of time, but the draft of Eves as they head for turn 1. Jarsakrak really going to have to put up a fight for Lemke to get back into this one, as Braden Eves is just as fast as Lemke, if not a 10th or 2 quicker. Into the bus stop, a kart and a half advantage for Brandon Jarsakrak over Braden Eves. Now the cell tower hairpin. Rounding it now is Jarsakrak by a 2-kart advantage, and he's holding that at the moment over Eves. Jarsakrak's progressively gotten quicker, and he's been consistent, even if Eves has had a bit faster spurts of lap times. Brandon Jarsakrak, a 104.8 and a 104.9 lap after lap, has been able to keep the drivers behind him at bay, and Lemke, while was quick, of course, outside of the pass and the bobble, has not lost and really let it phase him since he's lost all that time. In fact, Brandon Lemke really starting to chip back away at Eves and Jarsakrak. He's not going to be reeled in by the 3 behind him at the looks of things. If anything, he might be able to hold the gap or reel in the top 2. He was quicker than Jarsakrak by nearly a whole 10th of a second last time by. He's still going to need a little more help than that. He's going to need Eves to make his move before the final lap of the race. If he doesn't, and the gap just slowly decreases outside of a big boost in the draft, which I'm not sure may or may not happen. It really depends on how good or bad the driver in front and the driver in back's motors are. It might not be able to be enough for Lemke to get back into the fight for the win. And Braden Eves right now still stuck just a 2 to 3 kart lengths behind Brandon Jarsakrak, and it stayed that way. Jarsakrak, after getting to the lead, has been able to hold it and keep just sort of this bubble behind him that no one's really been able to break through. With that said though, Eves, a good run out of the final turn, puts him within a kart length. Here we go to turn 1. Braden Eves looking inside, got him for the top spot. Braden Eves back to the lead. Jarsakrak now going to really have to make sure he makes 0 mistakes. That bobble in turn 12, if he makes it again now, it will cost him the race. Eves too quick and consistent, just as with Jarsakrak. They're so evenly matched. If anything, Eves may be a tick up on him on speed, that if Jarsakrak makes any bad move, he will more than likely forfeit any chance of not just a win, but even holding on to second, as Lemke is still close and trying to close. Now Braden Eves nearly going a little wide out of 12. Here comes Jarsakrak, capitalizing in turn 14. Brandon Jarsakrak back to the lead now down the backstretch. Into turn 16. Eves gonna fight right back. The next opportunity. Braden Eves to the inside of Jarsakrak. And this is exactly what Brandon Lemke wants to see. If he was a driver of the go-kart, he'd be asking for some more popcorn. Brandon Lemke within a second now. 7 or 8 tenths separate second from third. Into the bus stop once again. Braden Eves, your leader. Brandon Jarsakrak, P2. Lemke, P3, just on the outside edge of the draft. Then next is Alexander Kardashian, Jonathan Kotick, and Mick Gabriel. As they head through the green corner, Jarsakrak glued to the bumper of the 41. The biggest fight Braden Eves has seen in WKA competition this year at Newcastle in the Kart Sport North America Pro IAME Senior class. Absolutely dominated in July here. Was untouched. The only driver that got close was Austin Garrison. Garrison with the J3 competition team, not here this weekend, but Jarsakrak and Lemke taking the fight right to Gahanna, Ohio's number 41. Brandon Jarsakrak has had quite the busy week and weekend, coming in at 1:30 a.m. all the way from Pennsylvania. Working on schoolwork in between sessions throughout the day and late at night, and still being able to contend and be fully physically and mentally there to battle with the best in the country here in the WKA Manufacturers Cup Series presented by Bridgestone Series. Of battles all throughout the day and all throughout the racetrack. We saw one bobble again, like I said, at turn 12. And that's something very rare, not just to see out of only Jarsakrak, but any driver you see on the racetrack, especially those inside the top 5. While we've been talking, though, Brandon Lemke has gotten into the draft, and not just into the draft, he is there, knocking on the bumper of Jarsakrak. 1, 2, and 3 through turn 1. Next time by, it'll be 4 laps to go. And Jarsakrak to the inside in turn 3. He takes it from Eves. Eves trying to cross him up in 4. Side by side to turn 5. Jarsakrak goes to block. Lemke now going to go for the move in the bus stop. Eves throws it in. They both go wide. Brandon Lemke going to look for a way by in the cell tower hairpin. Back and forth we go for the lead. Braden Eves versus Brandon Jarsakrak versus Brandon Lemke into turn 12. Eves back to the lead again from his move over in 9, and he's held it yet. No challenge. Here comes Jarsakrak and Lemke to the inside at 14. Jarsakrak to the lead. Brandon Jarsakrak now under fire. Here comes Brandon Lemke looking for the lead for the first time this weekend. Brandon Lemke goes to the top spot. Eves to second. Jarsakrak third. Now Braden Eves going to look for it in turn 1. Here we go. Eves now down the inside of Lemke. Jarsakrak still third. Lemke P2. Brandon Lemke down in turn 3. He'll take it right back. Eves looking for it in 4. And Eves and Lemke both get tripped up. 3 wide to turn 5. Jarsakrak to the lead. Out of 7, turn 8, now into the cell tower hairpin. Everything settles down just a little bit. They got spaced out. You saw Lemke dropping a wheel in the dirt. Braden Eves got sideways as well. Jarsakrak went from 3rd to 1st after the exchange in turn 4. Eves also went back by Lemke in turn 5. Now into turn 14. No move from Eves. He stays behind. Lemke pulling back up as well, and they're nose to tail once again. The leaders now, with all the battling they've had, it's brought Jonathan Kotick, Mick Gabriel, and Alexander Kardashian a little bit closer within sight. Although here comes Eves down the inside of Jarsakrak after Jarsakrak took over the lead with the move in 4. Eves, your leader again. The battling cost them about 8 to 9 tenths of a second to Jonathan Kotick. If that continues here for the next 3 laps, then Kotick and his group will be right there. Here we go. Brandon Lemke in turn 5 and 6. Jarsakrak goes through. Eves loses at the spot. He'll take it right back in turn 10. Jarsakrak now losing over the second position after following Lemke through. Brandon Lemke with the biggest lead he's seen all day. Lemke by 4 kart lengths into turn 14. An absolutely awesome battle here at new Castle Motorsports Park. The fence is already beginning to line with more main events coming, but if you aren't watching this one, you should be. 2 laps to go. Brandon Lemke, your leader. 3 karts together, and Jonathan Kotick fastly reeling in your leaders. Through turn number 4, Lemke, Eves, and Jarsakrak. About a 2 kart length difference, 3 kart lengths actually from Eves to Jarsakrak, separating the top 3. Kotick close, still a couple of seconds back. He's about 2.5 back right now, but if they get into it just like they did a few laps ago, really going back and forth and costing themselves time, that could bring Kotick just a bit closer. Into turn number 14 once again. Lemke, Eves, and Jarsakrak down the backstretch. Lemke's lead was cut in half from what it was 1 lap ago. White flag will be coming in the air this time. Roberto Perez and James Russell on the verge of going a lap down right as the leaders are really starting to battle. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Lemke. And here comes Braden Eves to the rear bumper. Brandon Lemke trying to hold on through turns 2, 3, and 4 as they start to reel in Roberto Perez. Through turn 4 over to turn number 5. Out of the bus stop into turn number 8 and 9, now over to 10. The 3 drivers up front separated by a kart length each through 11 into turn 12. Still no dive and no chance right now for Braden Eves. Lemke holding on. Is it deja vu from WKA Winter Cup? Brandon Lemke, up until the final weekend, was winless. He's still winless in the Manufacturers Cup Series. Looking to sweep the weekend. Eves, a dive inside 16. Lemke tries to over-under. 3 wide out of 16. Lemke looking again. Braden Eves makes contact. Double checkers in the air. Braden Eves wins in Pro IAME Senior. What a fight. And Braden Eves, session number 7. The perfect weekend continues with a win in Pro IAME Senior. But boy, was it a fight. Brandon Lemke went right toe-to-toe. Eves went to the inside in 16. A late dive was able to make it stick. Lemke tried to over-under. That's also the same idea that Brandon Jarsakrak had. They both got their momentum woed up, and while Lemke tried to get a run on the front stretch, it just wasn't going to work. What a fight for our top 3 drivers in Kart Sport North America Pro IAME Senior. Jonathan Kotick finishes 4th, Mick Gabriel 5th, Alexander Kardashian 6th, Sam Cade in 7th, Jim Russell Jr. 8th, Abby McLaughlin in 9th, John Yabagi rounds out your top 10. Braden Eves, your winner in Kart Sport North America Pro IAME Senior, and already nearly halfway there to a perfect weekend at the Top Kart USA Grand Nationals.